Putin is in on it. It's so blindingly obvious now. All right, so remember, Putin was a young global leader with old Klaus Schwab. Just FYI, Putin was a young global leader. He's been disowned since because of the war in Ukraine. Dan Crenshaw, young global leader. What's her name from Hawaii? Young global leader, Tulsi. Anyway. Trudeau, Castro baby, young global leader. I don't know about Biden. Who knows? He's skull and bones is probably those guys. I don't know. But anyway, we know the young global leaders. Putin was one. Trudeau was one. Many, many, many others are young global leaders. All right. So let's just go back here for a second. What has the evildoers been? And this is so far beyond left versus right, my friends. Get out of that thought process. Oh my goodness, the left, the right. I mean, look, I can't stand leftists, don't get me wrong, but it's so far beyond that. This is literally the Rockefellers, the globalist cabal, 100% against everybody. They don't care if Satan's not left or right, and God isn't left or right. They aren't. They just Satan wants to divide, God wants to unite. It's just that simple. So, how do you divide? Well, you divide and you conquer. And how do you do that? So here's what's happening. It's so freaking obvious. So the whole thing with what happened the last couple of years. That was just a trial run to see if we could actually get people to comply. And I am so stunned at how many people complied. And to this day, I was just on the plane the other day. I say a good 3/4 of the people still have their masks on. And I'm just sitting there. It's the level of compliance, because people are so afraid, is breathtaking, frankly. It's nuts. It's nuts. And so don't rely on your fellow man to wake up and say, oh no, they'll rise up when the freedoms are gone. They just won't, man, because they live in fear. And when you live in fear, you're easily led. It's just that simple. I mean, this has been going on for, the whole, hot duck and cover. Look, we all fell for it. The Muslims are going to get us. The commies going to get us. We all fell. I fell for it. Hell, you know what I'm saying? And it's crazy. Anyway, so why do I say Putin's in on it? All right, so we know the level of absurdity from the last 2 years, which if you would have said in 2019 what they were trying to do, you would have thought you were crazy. You're a conspiracy theorist. You must be a flat earther. They would have said you're crazy. And then 2 years later, here we are. We're like, oh yeah, well, kind of makes sense, right? I mean, after all, it was scary out there. We didn't know. And this is even among right-wingers, too. They fell for it hook, line, and sinker. It's insane. And this is where I lost my right-wing street cred. I said, oh yeah, these guys are just as bad as the left. They are easily susceptible to fear-mongering. All right. So now we know that the trial run was very, very successful. They were able to many who you thought were base were capitulated, 100%. So now what's happening next? Check this out. All right, so rationing is coming down the pike. You can see this a mile away. So I'm listening to my man Dave Cullen over on BitChute, because he said, I'm not on YouTube anymore. Computing forever, and he has this thing, I think he does it weekly, on how is this a thing. He's talking about in Australia, they're going to start ration your ability to drive, essentially. It's just a tax. They're not saying you can't drive. They're just going to charge you more per kilometer that you drive. And as such, you're rationing. But you're like, wait, I already paid my gas tax. I already paid the tax for the roads and stuff. And you kind of think, hey, that kind of makes sense, man. Hey, you should pay more for your usage. It's a usage fee after all. You're like, but I already pay the tax. I already have a usage fee. It's called the gas tax. That's literally a usage fee. So now you want to tax me per mile or kilometer I drive. What does that do? That's a rationing. And people are going to fall for it. Say, yeah, man, why not? I don't drive. They should pay more. I fell for it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You're like, wait a second. You already pay the tax. You already pay your usage fee. And the libertarians will fall for it too. Say, yeah, if you drive more, you should pay more. You already do pay more. Anyway, and so that's rationing. Now, you see what else is happening here, my friends. There's rationing of water coming to Arizona. But now, how does this affect Putin? All right, so we already knew rationing of water is coming to Arizona. All right, people are going to get that. It's like, well, you don't have any water. Rationing of electricity, man. Rationing of your electricity usage because of the war in Ukraine. You can see this a mile away. It's already happening. It's already happening in the UK, in the European Union, the EU. They're already talking about this. Dave talks about this on various websites. Rationing of power. We'll say power is synonymous with electricity usage. Rationing. And you say, look, we can't do anything about it. You got to ration your electricity because of war in Ukraine. You don't want to rob grandma, do you? It all it does is says now we're being molded to say that rationing is acceptable for whatever the reason of the day is. We're gonna say like there's a kid with a mask on outside. We're gonna say we're gonna ration because the war in Ukraine. I'm gonna drive through this neighborhood right here because I'm almost home. I'm yapping here because I'm just going off on a script, right? It's a script. It's completely not scripted. We're gonna ration because of the war in Ukraine. And then once the war in Ukraine is solved, does the rationing go away? Of course not. Gonna ration the water in Arizona. Why? Because there's no water. That actually completely makes sense too. You're like, look, you're living in Arizona, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? There's no water there. But see how the rationing, we gotta ration your meat because of war in Ukraine, because we don't have fertilizer. See how this is? So Putin's saying, look, as a young global leader, we gotta ration, which means we're gonna ration your ability to drive. We're gonna ration your ability to use electricity. We're gonna ration your ability to have meat products because we can't grow enough chickens. Oh, by the way, we're also gonna kill a bunch of chickens too, but hey, we'll do that under a cover of darkness. We're gonna ration things, and now we're all accustomed to rationing. All for the greater good, of course. All for the greater good. Yeah, do you see how quickly it went from COVID to the Ukraine thing? Now, they wanted to do this because of climate change. They thought they could scare everybody by climate change, but that did not work. So they had to do something else. And they got us to capitulate our rights and freedoms under the guise of fighting the pandemic. And now they're saying, okay, well, that's, 2 years is too long. People are going to start getting pissed. So now we got to do something else. And that is the war in Ukraine. And now that's a wonderful mechanism to introduce rationing that will never go away. Introducing mileage taxes that will never go away. Introducing food rationing, electricity rationing, water rationing. It doesn't matter what the cause of the day is. It says at the end of the day, we have to ration because X, Y, and Z. It's some scary stuff, man. And there's literally nothing you can do about it. That's the thing. Because the vast majority of your fellow man will go along right with it. And that's the frustrating thing. You thought, oh no, Americans, Australians. You thought Australians, Crocodile Dundee, they're fiercely independent. No, they're not. No, they're not. Irish, many of us got Irish ethnicity, or I don't know, is it ethnic to be Irish? I don't know. Well, I don't know if it's I don't know what it is, but we got Irish blood in us. Oh, Irish are fiercely independent. No, turns out they're not. The Scottish, fiercely independent. Hell no, they're not. Nope, not at all. Oh, the Americans, fiercely independent. Nope. At least the people in the South, fiercely independent. Nope. Some are. Majority are not. Majority are not. And everyone's like, well, how did the commies and all these other groups, the Germans, how did they not do anything? How did they allow this? It's always under the gauge of, the exploitive capitalists or the exploitive some other group of people. It's always under that. And now you put two and two together. I'm seeing normally based black people I follow on YouTube falling for the Buffalo thing and saying we need a black hate crime bill. I'm like, what would that solve? What would that solve? A black hate crime bill? And they're really pounding the table for that as if that would solve blacks being killed. And it's horrible, man. And you're like, no. All this is divide and conquer. It's so frustrating. And I'm not saying I got all the answers. I've fallen for this stuff a million times a Sunday, man. Hell, I was the biggest proponent of fighting in Iraq. I was signed up again in 2003. I said, I got to do something. 2001, 2, 3, I think it's a 3. Yeah. I said, I got to do something. We got to fight them over there before they fight us over here. I fell for it. The commies are everywhere. Literally, but it's not even the commies. It's the cabal. The globalist cabal. You sound like a conspiracy theorist. After this last 2 years, I don't know what to tell you, man. If you can't see this stuff, I hope you stay on my channel. But look at, oh man, the dog is, oh my goodness. A guy had his sprinklers. That dog is sitting on his sprinklers. Oh, that is so cute. Getting the sprinklers to pound his belly. Oh my goodness, that was so, my dogs do not like the water. It's funny. Oh, that was so cute. Now he's got that lady's got a dirty dog. Oh my goodness, inside her house. Anyway, the point being, it's blindingly obvious that Putin's in on it for anyone who wants to take the time to look, and people won't, because it's easier to be us versus them. I get it. It's so much easier to say the left versus the right, the blacks versus the whites, the communists versus the capitalists. What else? What does this guy have up there? He likes NASCAR. What else? The freaking Christians versus the Muslims. I mean, it's so much easier to be in that us versus them, and it's just, and I still fall for it too. Don't get me wrong. I'm still trying to pull myself out of that, but it's just sad. With that said, there's nothing you can do about it. We'll go along for the ride and enjoy it while you can, because we know the world is fallen, my friends. The world is fallen. We know that. And if you're a spiritual person, if you're Christian, you know this to be true. So stop trying to pretend it's not. And then what you do is say, okay, I can't control it, but I can control what I do with it. And my Christian faith is to love Jesus, to love God above all things. And that's all you can do. All right. Love your thoughts. We'll see you.